Hey, what's up, guys and gals? Toogie here, back again. A very tired Toogie, back again. But then again, when am I not? Whenever I record these. But regardless, I'll say it one more time for the people in the back. We are back again with another episode of A Nation United Rock, Flag, and Eagle. Now, fair warning, Emmy is currently looking out the window to my room here. There is a decent chance that she spots a squirrel, or a cat, or just someone she doesn't like, in which case she may lose her shit. So be on guard for that. Anyway, we, the Columbus Blue Jackets, Team America, we find ourselves halfway there. 8 wins down, 8 to go. However, the next 4 would have to come at the hands of the Carolina Hurricanes in the Eastern Conference Final. They finished higher than us in the standings based on overtime losses, so they do have home ice advantage. However, we, a squeaky chair wants to make its presence known, there you go. We are currently undefeated in this postseason run. It has been a miracle run so far that nobody could have predicted. This is the squad that's been getting it done, and we will be leaving it as is for the moment. And of course, in goal, Connor Hellebuck has been an absolute monster. As we'll take a look here at the Hurricanes lineup, I'm not exactly eager to say that we're better than them on paper in any way, because that often doesn't matter. This game does what it wants. That said, on paper, when it comes to the forward core, we are at a massive disadvantage, whether it is 20-year-old 86 overall Andrei Svechnikov, who has 3 goals and 8 assists this postseason, whether it's top-line center 87 overall Sean Couturier, who has 9 points this season, or of course the main man Nikita Kucherov, who I believe improved to high franchise. I didn't set him to high franchise, but regardless, Kucherov is an absolute monster. That top line is obviously going to cause us some issues. The second line, not to be scoffed at. Tanner Pearson, who is a legitimate second line forward. He has 10 points this postseason. Centered by Matt Duchene, who also has 10 points. He's actually a first line forward. And Craig Smith, the quote-unquote weak link, who has 5 goals and an assist in this postseason run. Again, nothing to scoff at. The third line is a player that I kind of wish we had. It is Jordan Greenway, 6 points so far this postseason. Centered by 83 overall Zach Hyman. He has 7 points this postseason. And Mikko Koivu, the third line right wing, with 9 points in this postseason run. You see where my concern comes from, and it doesn't get any better. So we look at the fourth line. It's Klim Kostin. They're probably not getting the most out of him, but obviously he is still dangerous. Centered by Colin White, another player it might have been nice to use in this series. Should get a look at his attributes there. And Nick Shore, who has 4 goals. 4 goals in this postseason. So I can only hope that defensively it looks a little bit better for us, and it does not at all. David Savard, no points. He is a +1 on the top pairing with 91 overall. Aaron Ekblad, who has 9 points this postseason. A reminder, they have played 11 games as opposed to our 8. The second pairing is 84 overall. Sammy Vatanen, 5 helpers this postseason on a pairing with Brandon Carlo, who's up to an 84. And the third pairing, Esa Lindell, 3 assists this postseason on a pairing with Robert Haig. No points and 81 overall. No advantage for us offensively. No advantage for us defensively. Is there something that can brighten my mood heading into this postseason run? And kind of, sort of. It's Robin Lehner, who only has a .911 save percentage. That's something to be optimistic about. Robin Lehner is proving to be Robin Lehner in the playoffs. I go off of that solely based on the Nations United Sweden series that we did previously. Mike Condon is the backup. He has yet to make an appearance. Pionk, I think it's Pionk, and Alexiak, the healthy scratches. So on paper, we are in for a rough series here, despite the fact that we finished with more wins in the regular season They have home ice, as previously mentioned. We are going to need this team's magic to continue. Make no mistake about it, again, looking at the scores from the first series, it has been magic. Do we have what it takes to pull off another miracle? I'm not talking about a sweep. I'm just talking about winning this series. I feel like just looking at the lineup differences, the Hurricanes were built for the playoffs. Do we have enough to overcome them? We're about to find out. First period of Game 1 in Carolina, and we have the 1-0 lead at the end of the opening 20. Ryan Donato with the lone goal. The lone goal of the first period, 14 shots to 9 in our favor. And that is a perfect way to start. Can we keep it up in the second period? No, we cannot. Matt Duchene and Jordan Greenway with the goals. And despite outshooting them 28-17, we find ourselves down 2-1 heading into the third period. Can we bounce back? The offense has been potent. Can we keep it up, though? Power play chance for the Hurricanes, and they strike. It's David Savard. And that puts us at a huge risk of losing our first game of this postseason run. That's 5 minutes away from happening, and indeed it will. The Hurricanes do what Detroit and Boston could not. They have defeated us in a postseason game. We dropped Game 1 in Carolina by the score of 3-1. I took a shot at him, and Robin Lehner answered. 34 saves in the win. He was the first star of the game. Now, a way to look at this in terms of optimism would be that, hey, we finally got a win out of the way. Or a loss out of the way. We finally lost. Now that pressure's off. We don't have to focus on the fact that we're undefeated. We can hopefully bounce back here in Game 2 and still live up to our goal, the goal of any team starting off a series on the road, and that is to take at least one game. Can we do it? I certainly hope so. First period of game number 2 is scoreless, 11 shots to 8 in our favor. Second period is not scoreless. Logan Brown with the goal. And yet again, we have a 1-0 lead in a game here against Carolina. We have them outshot, not by much, but facts are facts. Third period, let's go. Can we avoid an early Carolina goal? I feel like that's crucial. And we have at least made it 5 minutes into the period without giving one up. And Anders Lee with a gigantic goal for us. We have another power play opportunity that we cannot do anything with. 6 minutes to go. Can the Blue Jackets hold on for the win and steal a game on the road? Belpedio with the empty netter. And indeed, we can do just that. 3-0 final on the road. We have tied this series up. We may have lost for the first time this postseason, but we bounce right back. 25 save shutout there for Connor Hellebuck. Belpedio with a 2-point night thanks to the empty netter. Robin Lehner had another fairly solid game, but that time Connor Hellebuck took over. So a 3-1 loss in Game 1. We bounce back with a 3-0 win in game number 2. Of course, we'll focus the scouting on the 3 CHL leagues and jump right into Game 3. There is nothing to look at. There's nothing to go over. It's just a matter of simming these games. I really don't think we'll make any line changes unless we are in a lot of trouble. Of course, the team, the way it is, has done very well for us. Can we keep up our winning ways? Game 3 on home ice in Columbus. Let's see what happens. First period is scoreless yet again. And this time, they really limited our offense. 10 shots to 6. I do hope that in the future, these games show you shot attempts, or at least block shots. I get that it's not like the commonly tracked stat, but 6 shots probably doesn't tell the whole story. I'd like to know how many shot attempts we had, how many block shots Carolina may have had. I find it hard to believe that our offensive output was that limited. Regardless, this game is scoreless. Can we find the back of the net in the second period? No, we cannot, and unfortunately for us, the Hurricanes do. Tanner Pearson has the only goal of this game thus far. We've been held to 14 shot attempts through 40 minutes. That obviously needs to change if we hope to win this game. Third period underway. We have a power play early on that we waste, which is always unfortunate, and Colin White strikes. In the immediate aftermath, it's now 2-0. Carolina, we're halfway through the third. We have a power play chance yet again, an extended power play that we can do nothing with, and that is basically the death knell as the Hurricanes will hold on. Colin White with the empty netter as they reverse the score. We ended up tied in shots at 28 apiece, but in the end it did not matter. Robin Lehner, anything you can do, I can do better, apparently, with a 28-save shutout. Again, Connor Hellebuyck, 25 saves, not a bad performance. Colin White with the 2 goals, one of them being that empty netter. And the Hurricanes have taken Game 3. So each team so far has managed to lose on home ice. We'll see what we can do here. Jack Eichel is still a point a game as Minnesota's up 3-0 on Vancouver. So it's looking like no matter what, no matter who comes out of the East, it will be against the Minnesota Wild. The question is, are changes worth it? I'm a little bit disappointed in the second line. The third line's been quiet. Fourth line as well. The plus minuses are still nice, but obviously down. There's really nothing we can do. The bottom 6 is the bottom 6, and I don't think dropping anybody is necessarily worth it. Let me see here. Milano shooting 12%. Galchenyuk yet to score a goal. Besser shooting 15%. Donato at 10. I'm tempted to put Anders Lee on that top line with Eichel and Besser. Very tempted. You know what? I want to change it up a little bit. I do. So I'm going to put Donato on the right, and we'll have Anders Lee on the top line here just to mix it up a little bit. And then let's see. I think Grant Mishmash needs the call. 4 points, shooting 8%. And I'm actually going to drop Riley Tufte for Mishmash just to mix things up. I have faith in this team, but we need a spark here. The offense hasn't been tremendous as we have been. I mean, aside from our Game 2 performance, Games 1 and 3, not ideal. Not ideal in the slightest. Plus minus is still okay for all of our defensemen. I just think we need that offensive spark. And again, Hellebuyck has still been incredible. We just need to find that offensive scoring touch. Getting shut down by Robin Lehner, in my opinion, not acceptable. Not acceptable at all. So hopefully, actually, you know what? Power play. Power play. That's a big one. That is a big one for us. We haven't scored any power play goals in the third period yet. We may have scored power play goals during the first and second period, but of course we sim those, so we wouldn't know. Let's go ahead. You know what? I'm actually thinking I'm going to really switch it up here. I'm going to go league. Eichel's got to be there. I'm very disappointed in Galchenyuk, essentially, is the issue here. Let's see. What can we do here? Now, we have numerous lefties. So, I could run McAvoy as a forward if I really wanted to, or Trouba because he has a good shot. How do I want to do this? I'm very tempted to run McAvoy as a forward, or a Trouba as a forward with a strong side shot. So let's see, maybe have Besser as the strong side shot option there. Eichel, Anders Lee. Have McAvoy on that side, Anders Lee on this side. Then from here we go Trouba, Galchenyuk, Milano, Belpedio, and Butcher. Does that seem a bit ridiculous? Yes, but I want to use these specific players on, intentionally. It's the top 6 forwards and the top 4 defensemen. That way, after a power play, you run the bottom 6 and you run the third pairing defense as they recover. So that's the game plan there. I'm going to go for it. It can't hurt. It can't hurt. At the end of the day, they're still very talented players. It's worth trying something a little bit different, in my opinion. Let's see if it can create a little bit of a spark. Again, unless we go in-depth with the stats, there's no way to tell if there's a power play goal early on in the game. I wish it would mark if it was a power play goal. That'd be pretty cool. It does not. Anyway, Game 4 in what I consider a must-win. If we fall down 3-1 against Carolina, that's a hole that I don't think we're going to get out of. Not to jinx myself here. Kucherov's been very quiet. Svechnikov has been very quiet. This is a beatable team. We just need our big names to show up. We need our depth to show up. We need someone like a Grant Mishmash to take over like he did in the last series. Can he or anybody else get the job done? Let's find out. First period here of game number 4. It is scoreless. We outshot them 7-6. So a pretty big defensive display there, apparently. Second period is also scoreless. Again, basically even in shots, 18-17. And that sets up the biggest 20-minute stretch of the season. Let's go. It is all on the line here. The next goal could very well win this game. Early power play chance here for the Hurricanes. It's an extended power play that they are not able to capitalize on. 9 minutes to go in the third. Can we find a way to score? If not, it may very well be series over. 2 minutes left. Will there be a late winner in regulation? There will not be. We are going to overtime, scoreless in game number 4. All the pressure in the world is on our shoulders right now. Again, what is a must-win. In my opinion, I don't think we're coming back from a 3-1 series lead. And I'd almost prefer not to. I think I'd rather lose in 5 than come back in 7 only to lose. Not talking about anybody specifically, but, you know, the topic came up. Overtime, game 4. Come on. Can we get the winner? Think of the power we have on this team. Eichel, Besser, Donato, Anders Lee, Sonny Milano, Trouba, McAvoy, Belpedio, Mishmash, power play, please. 5 minutes left. Are we going to double overtime here in game number 4? Late power play for the Hurricanes is not capitalized on, apparently. Now, I'm not sure if the power play ended or if they took an equalizing penalty. If they took an equalizing penalty, that power play kicks in for us. That could be the time that we strike because, again, it is the second overtime. It typically ends within a good 3 to 5 seconds. Will that be the case this time out? I am not sure, but I am calling it. Jack Eichel is going to score the winner for us, or it's going to be clean costing for Carolina. The Tougie Overtime Challenge. Double overtime. Let's go. We need this win. And Nikita Kucherov scores 36 seconds in. And that will pretty much do it for this series. 46 shots to 40. And it is all over here. Flat out. It is all over here. I have to admit, Robin Lehner with a 46 save shutout. Connor Hellebuck did everything he could to keep us in this game. But at the end of the day, we are being shut down by Robin Lehner. That is unbelievable. 2 shutouts in this series for Lehner. He has allowed 4 goals in 4 games, turning into a regular Martin Jones in the first round. We won't talk about what just happened in Game 1 between Vegas and San Jose, however. Now, I will say, and you know what? I'm going to, do I want to, jump cuts. I'm going to let the dog out of the room and probably outside. All right, we're good. We're back. I don't know what changes I can possibly make to this team. The bottom line is we're just not scoring goals. Vancouver at least avoided the sweep, so congrats to them. Oh man, but overall, what a tremendous disappointment for us here. Absolutely tremendous disappointment. You know what, I'm gonna go Tufty, Mishmash, and Brown. And then Bellows, Gaudette, and Jones. Just because. I like Bellows score. And we'll go with Jones on the left there. I'm going based off of shooting percentage now, if anything. 11 and 9 there. 13, 14, 19. Unfortunately, that top line didn't exactly generate as much offense as I was hoping. And then defensively, I'm not really sure who's getting picked apart here. I think it's the top pairing more than anything. Hellebuck still has a 960. It's not on him. The team in front of him is just not scoring. And I don't know what changes to make. I'm going with that. Change the centers within the top 6. I'm throwing whatever I can at the wall here. And for those who are like, no, don't change the lines, you'll mess with the there is no chemistry. That's not how it works. There's no built-in chemistry. If there is, have the guys at EA tell me, because I certainly haven't been told that, and from there's literally no indication that that's a thing. I think that's just voodoo, and I think that comes from their use, in the past, having there be the chemistry system between, have a sniper, playmaker, and power forward on the same line to get a +5 attribute boost. Boost. That's not the thing anymore. That aside, I'm stalling to delay what I feel is the inevitable. We are down 3-1. We are back in Carolina for Game 5. It comes down to this. Let's see what we can do. First period of game number 5 is scoreless yet again. We could only muster 4 shots. You'll have to excuse my pessimism, but it's justified fully. So I think this is going to be our last game of the season, unless we can find a little bit more of that magic. Second period is scoreless now, being outshot 22-13. I don't know what's worse, going 8-0 in the first 2 rounds and losing, or going 8-0 in the first 2 rounds and losing to Robin Lehner. And having Robin Lehner do as well as he's doing in this series. Regardless, third period, it's not over yet. My coughing is just beginning. Still getting over being sick because it's ridiculous. We have an early power play chance. Please, thank you. My God, it must have been... We're still on the power play. We were on the power play for like 6 minutes straight there. Ryan Donato, 5 minutes and 2 seconds in. Anders Lee gets another about 5 minutes later. And we have a 2-0 lead here in game number 5. And barring a miracle, that will do it. Jack Eichel with the empty netter. And we are not done yet. Again, Donato scores 5 minutes and 2 seconds in on the power play. Lee gets one as well, and then Eichel with the dagger, the empty net goal. We have another 3-0 shutout in this series. 34 saves for Hellebuck. A 3-point night for Anders Lee. As I need to mute this mic because I have to cough. Oh my God. We're good. Maybe. Possibly. Oh my God. Anytime I start to think I'm feeling better from the sickness, it just kicks right back. It's brutal. But we'll get this done, damn it. As you look in the third period, and it was indeed about 6 minutes worth of penalties, Nick Shore and the double minor high sticking on Robert Haig. We are able to take advantage, and we have forced Game 6. So again, a 3-1 loss, 3-0 shutout win, 3-0 shutout loss, 1-0 shutout loss, 3-0 shutout win. The past 4 games have been a shutout, one way or another. That is an absurd stat. And that leads us to Game 6. The power play finally showed up. The goal scoring in general showed up. Can that trend continue? Back on home ice in Game 6. Let's see what happens. Does the season end here? First period goes about as poorly as it possibly could have, as both Kucherov and Duchesne wake up. 2 goals on 13 shots, and we face a 2-0 deficit at the end of 20. Second period, and we recover. Sonny Milano, with the performance of his career, has tied this game. 2 goals for Milano. It is all tied up at the end of 40 minutes. The shots are about even. The season is on the line. Facing elimination for the second game now. Can we get the job done? Third period, it's tied at 2, and Tanner Pearson scores 56 seconds in. We have a power play that we cannot take advantage of. 7 minutes gone. We're trading power play chances here. Can we please get a goal? Please. Oh my God, so much power play time that we can't use. 5 minutes to go. Is there a late goal? Is there a hero to save our season? Riley Tufte with 4 seconds to go. Oh my God. Woo. We're not done yet. We are not done yet. Oh my God, my voice may be done, but this team is not done. Riley Tufte with 4 seconds left. We were 4 seconds away from losing this game and losing this series in 6, which still might happen, but damn it, there's more hockey to be played. We're going to overtime in Game 6, tied at 3 apiece. Both goaltenders out of nowhere struggling. Again, at the end of 1, Kucherov and Duchesne made it 2-0. At the end of 2, Sonny Milano's 2 goals, his heroics tied this game. Pearson gets the goal 56 seconds in, and then with 4 seconds left, 19 minutes later, Riley Tufte scores. Oh my God. We're out shooting them 31-28. And it all comes down to this overtime in Game 6, win, and there is a Game 7 back in Carolina, lose, and we stay here in Columbus before hitting the golf course. Let's go. Overtime challenge predictions. I'm going to go with Anders Lee or Nikita Kucherov. Here we go. Overtime in Game 6. Will there be an early winner? Will this series continue? Can one of our big names get the goal? Power play opportunity here in overtime is wasted. We're halfway through. Will there be a goal? Are we destined for another double overtime that went very poorly the last time we went there? 2 minutes left. Can we get it? We cannot. And it is, in fact, double overtime, which makes me feel really good about my prediction right about now of Anders Lee or Nikita Kucherov. Kucherov scored, 20 seconds or so into the overtime, the first double overtime in this series. That leads us to this. Double overtime in Game 6. Don't blink. You'll miss it. 3 to 5 seconds is all it's going to take here in double overtime. Will the season end here? Let's go. Come on. Yes! Will Butcher. Holy shit. With 48 seconds in, Will Butcher gets the winner in double overtime. There will be a Game 7. Oh my God. Sonny Milano with 2 goals in the second period to tie it. Riley Tufte with 4 seconds left in regulation in the season ties it. And then in double overtime, Will Butcher with the goal. Not an original member of this team, but what a way for him to step up. Milano's your first star with the 2 goals. Duchesne had a 3-point night, but Butcher with the overtime winner has kept this season alive. He has kept this series going. Absolutely incredible. You see the trading of power plays there. And in that overtime, Will Butcher, assisted by Belpedio and Galchenyuk, he gets the goal that sees us back to Carolina on Wednesday night, May 20th of 2020. It comes down to this Game 7. Have the Canucks forced a Game 7, or are the Wild in the Stanley Cup Final? Minnesota won in 5. The winner of this game takes on the Blue Jackets. Or the winner of this game. The winner of this game between the Blue Jackets and the Hurricanes. This is what happens when you try to say multiple things. The winner of this game between the Blue Jackets and the Hurricanes do take on the Minnesota Wild in the Stanley Cup Final. Let's hope it's the Blue Jackets is another thing I was going to add. No lineup changes necessary. Let's go. Oh my God. Tufte, Milano, and Butcher with the heroics to get us here. Is it enough? Does the miracle season continue? First period of Game 7, and Carolina strikes first. Andrei Svechnikov with 40 seconds to go in the period. We outshot them 9-6. Doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot. We're down 1-0. Second period, and it's all tied up. Logan Brown, exactly 9 minutes into the second, scores from a god-awful angle on Robin Lehner. The Hurricanes have a 17-16 advantage in the shots, but again, we are all tied up on the board. My throat's on fire. My heart's in my chest. I'm going to take a sip of water because I'm losing it here. Oh my God. I made it through the Ottawa episode before this. Took a decent break in between. Doesn't matter. Oh my God. I have a Ricola in front of me, and it's just, I want it, but I can't. Not yet, at least. Third period of Game 7. Can we get the win? Does the miracle run, the miracle season continue, or does it end in heartbreaking fashion? Let's find out. Third period here. Game 7. We need everybody to step up. Not just the top 6 goal scorers. Everybody. Someone will make themselves a playoff hero. 8 minutes to go in regulation. The next goal is winning the series. It's Svechnikov again. Power play for the Hurricanes is killed off. We're running out of time. Oh my God, no. Andrei Svechnikov, a hero in a prior series on this channel, and a heartbreaker in this series in particular. With 5:55 to go in regulation, Andrei Svechnikov on the back of a 2-goal performance and a 31-save effort. From Robin Lehner to the Hurricanes on the back of those performances have ended our season. Wow. We had 20 minutes to get the job done. And at the end of the day, Robin Lehner was too much for this team to handle. And that is the most devastating thing I've ever had to say. Sonny Milano with 9 points in 15 games. I can't really complain. Jack Eichel, point-a-game player, solid performance. Anders Lee with 9 points in 15 games as well. It's a solid performance. Donato with 10. Galchenyuk not getting a single goal is obviously quite disappointing. Only 7 points. He was a risky pick at the time. And I'm happy with the assist numbers. But I'm not happy with the numbers, with the numbers in general. And we may need to think. He's coming up on a contract year. It's going to make him easier to trade. Of course, he had one of the salaries that was, edited by the AI, by the game itself, through the fantasy draft. So he'll be on a better contract, a more movable contract. We need to decide Chucky's future. Brock Besser, 10 points. You'd like a little bit more out of Besser and Eichel. Eichel delivered. I don't really think Besser did. He was good, but not great. Riley Tufte was 6 points. Is really pretty solid. Same for Logan Brown. Mishmash was okay. At the end of the day, though, okay and good. That's not good enough. You need great to make it to the Stanley Cup final. And while we are close, we are not quite there. The lack of goal scoring from McAvoy and Trouba. You look at their shot, you look at their offensive awareness, they are capable of putting up goals. They did not. Will Butcher scored an incredible goal to keep us in it. Belpedio put up 2 goals. Nothing from Chris, which I'm not too surprised about. But the lack of goal scoring contribution from our defense is definitely a part of the story. And at the end of the day, Connor Hellebuck might still deserve the Conn Smythe Trophy. There was a lot of discussion as to whether or not he was the right goaltender, especially for when we took him in the fantasy draft. These numbers right here, I feel vindicated. 1,000%. That is some Jaguar level crap that should have been enough. And the team in front of him failed him. Bottom line. Connor Hellebuck was the man for us in this postseason. And the team in front of him, sadly enough, just didn't get it done. And had this run happened about 2 years from now, maybe with a little bit more progression from certain players, who knows what would have happened. But unfortunately, our season ends in the Eastern Conference Final. It will be a Minnesota-Carolina Cup final. And we will wait to see the winner. We're going to do the full season wrap-up here because in the next episode, I just want to move on to the postseason. I want to get to the draft, to the re-sign phase, and hopefully free agency all in one shot. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, the draft isn't that complicated as Minnesota ends up taking the Stanley Cup over the Blue Jackets. The Wild, our champions. Again, we'll take a look at their roster. We certainly don't need to look at the Hurricanes roster. It went 7. It went 7, and the Wild took it. Sweeping Detroit, sweeping Boston, and then losing to Carolina in 7 in the conference final. That is a heartbreaker. As you look at this Wild team, led by Kyle Connor, 85 overall, Yanni Gourde, Patrice Bergeron, Kachuk, Gustav Nyquist, Derek Brassard, Timo Meier, Adam Tambellini, surprisingly made the roster, Reed Boucher, Brendan Lemieux, Lars Eller, and Jordan Martinook, the forward core. On defense, Liljegren is a monster. Morgan Riley as well. So there you go, Toronto fans. Cheer up. Seth Jones, Jesus Christ, this defense. Adam Pelech, Ryan Graves, and Mirko Mueller. So it kind of settles down there, but that top 3 is insane. The goaltenders, speaking of insane, Cam Talbot, 23 appearances, 16, 4, and 3, 7 shutouts, a .957 save percentage, and a 1.33 GAA. You know, I stand corrected about the Conn Smythe Trophy. It's going to Cam Talbot. He was unbeatable. Even more so, even with the save percentage being the same, even more so than Connor Hellebuck. The Wild win back-to-back Stanley Cups. 3 cups now. Of course, the Avalanche won it in year 1. The Wild have won the last 2. So Western dominance so far in this fantasy draft series through the first 3 years. Brad Marchand won the Art Ross for the Washington Capitals. I think we took a look at player stats. We probably did. I honestly don't recall, though. Marchand also won the Hart. The Norris went to John Klingberg. Voracek, the Lady Bing. The Calder went to Svechnikov. No surprise. Cam Talbot wins the Conn Smythe. Dubnyk, Vanek, and Talbot have won the last 3 Conn Smythes. Dubnyk as well wins the Vezina, the Jennings to Vasilevsky, Tucker Pullman, the Masterton, Crosby wins the Selke, Marchand, Ted Lindsay, and Vladimir Tarasenko with the Rocket Richard. Down in the AHL, Rem Pitlick put up the most points and was league MVP. He was also the top goal scorer. The Rookie of the Year was Ivan Lodnia of the Charlotte Checkers. Adam Boqvist, Defenseman of the Year in the AHL for the Toronto Marlies. And Grice was the Goaltender of the Year, the MVP of the playoffs, though. Noah Gregor of the Rockford Ice Hogs. So that is that for the awards. No hardware in any fashion, unfortunately, for this franchise. We will take a look at the progress report. It's a very key factor, of course, in this series. Again, I'm not going to pay attention to current overall. I'm just looking for greens or reds. Chad Chris is up to an 81. Riley Tufte also up to an 81. Grant Mishmash up to a 79. Bellows to a legitimate 80. And that is that on the main roster. A little bit disappointing and a little bit concerning. In the system, Kyler stayed at a 79. Very worrisome. Ottinger up to a 78. He should be NHL ready. He's NHL ready next year. Backup, starter, doesn't matter. Probably backup. Jack Hughes, the big-time trade to acquire Jack Hughes. There was a lot of wheeling and dealing this season. Hughes will be an NHLer next year at a 78. Quentin Hughes as well could be NHL ready at a 77 overall, could be a third pairing guy. Norris is a 76, as is David Ferentz, so the defensive depth is looking okay. From there, Matthias Samuelsson is a 71, Dustin Wolf is a 68, Wild is a 67, Kaliev a 66, and Thomas Harley up 6 points to a 61. So we did get some progression, but there was a lot of players that stayed, or there were a lot of players that stayed put, which is very concerning, considering the amount of young talent we still have on this team. But for the most part, the core is starting to be carved out. I suppose the one big question heading in to the offseason, not into the draft, because again, we're not going to move him there, even though it is possible this year. The one big question heading into the draft is what happens with Alex Galchenyuk as you get a look at the draft lottery. The St. Louis Blues have the number 1 pick. The Islanders traded up thanks to Anaheim and have the 2nd pick. Of course, we have no such luck. We've got to look at the retired players list as well. We might lose a couple of guys, just depth or not. And we'll take a look around the league. So we look to wrap up this episode. Pominville, Plekanec. I meant to go by games retired, or games played. Games retired. Pominville, Gianna, Plekanec, Kunitz, Boscheman, and quite a few others. Seidenberg retires, Tutu, Steve Bernier, and Daniel Paille. Goaltenders, Niemi, Backstrom, Budai, and McKenna all hang up the skates. We're not going to worry about the trade block. We will worry about the draft in the next episode. Although taking a look at the draft class, again, Americans only, we will see who is on the board for us. We pinned a couple of these guys at the beginning of the season. It's not looking too good, aside from maybe Skilly. Let's take a look one more time at this draft class just to see if there are any highly rated Americans, which Timmins, the goaltender, is projected in the first round. Is he necessarily needed? No, but he might be worth selecting. And again, this is the Alexis Lafreniere draft. We also added Marco Rossi into the game, but this is the first year where absolutely you're going to be seeing just a ton of AI or EA-generated players. We added Vieti Metinen into the draft, and Neil Gushchin as well. There are quite a few, but as far as Americans go in the first round, Goulet and Byfield as well, I just have to point them out. As far as Americans go, it is just the two goaltenders. Or not. Nicholas Robertson, but we know he's not good. Or at least not good enough. Promising, but not exactly worth a first-round pick at exact top 9 unless he is high top 9. So that is the question with our first-round pick. Do we go with one of the goaltenders, a position we don't exactly need, but we can use as trade bait? And yeah, it's not even a question. That's what we do, as opposed to taking Robertson, unless someone has faith that he's high top 9. Which, I don't know. Time will tell. And then you have Skilly, Clifford Skilly in the second round. So we'll see what happens. Certainly no game-changing Americans, no Mike Modano types coming out of this draft for us, which I have a feeling will be the case quite consistently. That will do it for this one. I thank you for making it through this. I'm shocked my voice made it through this. I'm going to go not talk now for the next 12 hours. I thank you again for watching. You know what you can do to support me and the channel, the video in particular, and I thank you for it. Unfortunately, the team couldn't bring it home this year, but the future, whether or not with all the players we have at the moment or with a few more tweaks, the future is looking bright. And it begins. That future. We continue to take strides towards that future in the next episode with the Year 3 off season. I thank you one more time for watching, and I will see you all next time.